This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan. With your host, Bradley Summers. And get the latest from Alpena Community College with ACC President Dr. Don McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Good morning and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm your host, Bradley Summers, and this morning our first guest is Paige Alia with Hope Shores Alliance. Hi, Paige.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you doing today?
Doing well. And then hopefully the sun is shining when we walk out of here again and continue this beautiful day.
Absolutely.
So I understand that Hope Shores Alliance, each month you have a wonderful initiative of awareness for different topics, and February is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month.
That is correct. Yes, a mouthful of a name, but yes, and it's a nationwide campaign that happens, and every year, Love is Respect, which I've got some of the info for you that we were looking at beforehand on what they do, but Love is Respect works with a youth council in creating a campaign across the entire nation, which is really wonderful because it is yet led by the teens.
Yeah.
So we're hearing their voices and what they're saying their needs are to support one another and to pass awareness throughout the nation and also education throughout the nation.
Yeah, and it's so important and vital that young people are hearing this message and seeing this message because, you know, as we were talking just before we started taping, that, you know, some young people may emulate the things that they may be seeing in their home or think are normal, and they're not normal in some sense, you know, when it comes to violence and being treated unfairly or unjust by another person that they are, you know, in a relationship with or dating at that time.
Absolutely, and this is it's a really big thing. So if we think about it, it's not only at home, but it's really everywhere, and it's cultivated throughout our entire society and culture. It's promoted in what we see in the media, in movies, Hollywood, what are highlighted as normal things in relationships, or the fantasy of what romance and what love are. So we're talking about education around an entire shift, and that is what the teens in this youth council are saying need to happen. And so it's all about talking about what actually makes relationships healthy, and then leaning into understanding what our individual values are, and what personal boundaries are, and then how to share what a personal boundary is, and what happens when somebody is resistant or pushing back against our personal boundaries, what steps we have to do to maintain and hold those. And obviously anyone who is perpetrating or choosing to harm, that's on them and their fault, and yet we can also support youth in knowing who they are and learning who they are, of course, and developing those boundaries.
And then creating, you know, giving them more of a voice to talk and be able to understand that some of these things may not be the norm.
Absolutely.
And how important it is to identify that so that they can learn at an early age what a healthy relationship is and educate themselves to be able to take that, you know, to the next step in their life and have more relationships and, of course, make them healthy ones.
Absolutely. So when we zoom in, what we're doing locally this month at Hope Shores Alliance is we are partnering with libraries as well as schools, and also, coincidentally, the Boys and Girls Club. And we are joining students and teens where they're at. So events that were already planned. So we're talking sports games, teen nights at libraries, at Boys and Girls Club, lunch hour. And so we're bringing our materials. We're setting up very low-key, casual conversation. We're bringing resources, materials for them. They can ask questions, they can chat. But we also have our activity, our rock painting activity as always. So something tactile, something you don't have to make eye contact, or you can just sit and paint a rock. You can leave a message for somebody else to see somebody else, maybe you yourself don't feel you've experienced violence, but you know somebody who has. What would you want to say to them to give them them a little love, a little respect, and a little support. So that's part of our Planting Seeds of Hope campaign throughout the year, our rock painting. And we do these events not only during the months that were highlighted, but anyone that is wanting us to come and set up and do one of these tabling events, we're available and open to doing that.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
You know, there's some statistics too that were kind of really stood out when I was looking at the flyer that you brought today, and you know, some other things that I've looked at when on your Facebook page too, is that 1 in 10 high school aged individuals experience teen violence or teen dating violence.
Yes, absolutely. And so the statistics are a little different depending on female, male. It is a little bit higher for female identifying folks, and anyone who has a different gender identity, that also increases simply because of vulnerabilities that, like, not anything that we can do to change about ourselves, but that's something that people look to take advantage of. And also it's really important to note that boys and men also experience violence of any kind, including teen dating violence. So it's really important to highlight that, and also to, like, believe, support, and validate when our teens come forward and are asking questions or sharing that, like, something doesn't quite feel right. And we know also, we've already talked about today, like, some of it almost gets normalized and such based on all of those cultural values. So creating those shifts is what we're looking at shaking up, and really supporting teens in recognizing, like, their own values, what cultivates a healthy relationship, and how they can have personal and healthy boundaries.
Yeah, and 81% of parents don't recognize some of these, all the things that you've been talking about here. Sometimes it's really hard for parents to, you know, come to terms with their own child maybe going through some of these things.
Absolutely. So yeah, so it's either a belief that it's not there, which is very understandable in terms of, like, for the most part, we don't want to think about these awful things, these violent things happening to anyone, let alone our own kids.
Yeah.
And yet pretending or thinking that they don't exist doesn't mean it isn't there and isn't happening. We know it is. And so creating safer spaces for teens to come forward when something is wrong is one of the most essential things that we can do as supports to teens, is make those spaces so they can talk.
That's a perfect way to wrap up the segment too, is creating that safe space and that environment for kids to have that voice.
Absolutely.
And it's incredible what you and your team are doing, you know, bringing this type of awareness to our community and giving young people more resources and opportunities to be able to learn more now so that they can take it with them in the future.
Absolutely, and so we can all hold perpetrators and harm doers more accountable.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time today, and thank you for being here, Paige. And I look forward to more conversations.
Absolutely. Absolute pleasure. My goodness, if I can even get the words out today, I'm getting to connect with you today.
Well, thank you. And stay tuned after the break for Leslie Dort from Friends Together. Welcome back, everyone. Our next guest is Leslie Dort from Friends Together. Hi, Leslie.
Hey there. Thanks for having me on again.
Hey, well, thank you.
Yeah.
And as I was saying as you were sitting down today, you were the very first guest that I had almost 2 years ago.
It's a distinguished honor I hold.
And you keep showing up. I love this.
I
Thank
do.
you.
It's a fun part of my day.
Well, thank you for this.
Yeah.
You know, I'm always appreciative of you coming in and talking about all the wonderful things that are going on at Friends Together.
Oh, it's such an easy topic to talk about for me. You know?
And you're such an advocate for what you do, and literally advocacy within your organization.
In my job title.
Yep, it's your job title. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
You know, one of the big things that I know that you have going on are your Tuesday Topic series.
Yes, that's our brand new support group series. So we're trying a different, as you know, we're trying a different kind of support group. The traditional support group meets regularly, and it's a group of people having casual discussions and supportive topics revolving around cancer. This new program happens every Tuesday at 4:30, but we're trying to highlight the senses because our world can become much more of a resource to us when we do that. And we're trying to grab people who aren't necessarily the cancer patient only. There are so many people who have a cancer journey, the caregiver, the spouse, the family, the neighbor who doesn't know what to say anymore to their neighbor going through cancer. They all have a cancer journey that they're not recognizing. So these programs are for everybody, from patient, survivor, to just person touched by it. So Tuesday, the first Tuesday is always going to be sound. And we've got Tracy Boyle leading that. And it may be her all the time. She may have some guests, but it will revolve around the sense of sound. The second Tuesday is learning. So we're going to have sight and hearing, and we'll have presentations, new topics each time. Next month, this month was estate planning. Next month is going to be organ donation. Wow. So lots of valuable topics that everybody needs. Yeah. The third Tuesday will be art. So it'll be some type of art therapy. And our director, Melissa Burns, will lead that. And again, she'll have guests in from time to time. But using art to come to terms with whatever you're going through, or just the beautiful sensory of art. And then the fourth Tuesday is my Tuesday, and I get to work with my favorite thing, food. So we're gonna learn some healthy ways to eat. There's a lot of swirling information out there about different diets. Yeah. Maybe get into some proper knife skills, how to turn leftovers into something appetizing. Just very easy, fun 90 minutes.
Yeah, that's an incredible lineup of resources for individuals.
And every month Tuesday, 4:30. We appreciate it if you register. That way, if we have a cancellation, Facebook reaches a lot of people, but not everybody. And we'd want to be able to let people know that this isn't going on.
How does someone register for an event?
Well, actually, we have a couple of ways now that you've asked. The traditional, just give us a call and we'll put your name down. Or you go on our website or Facebook page, and there'll be a link to an online registration where we can now sell tickets, even though they're free, online. So you can sign up there in the privacy of your home, and it may even be able to send you a reminder. But with that one, at least you have that receipt from signing up.
And these are all in-person events?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, but you can Zoom into some of them.
Awesome.
And those will be on the individual basis. Like the women's cancer support I facilitate, that's Zoom and in-person simultaneously all the time.
Yeah, and just to kind of go back on something that kind of struck me was when you talked about, the neighbor and, and the journey that they're on as well, and what to say. And
absolutely.
Well, that's a really great resource for somebody to understand that, for one, you don't know what kind of cancer an individual has, if it's something that's very treatable, or if
whether
it's
you should ask.
Terminal, or whether or not you should try to go about your day and make things as normal as possible for an individual, so that they're not thinking about it all the time,
right.
which I'm sure they're doing most of the time. But what a great way to reach out to those individuals as well.
Yeah, our mission is straightforward. It's to help people with cancer. But even if you don't have the physical disease, you have a lot of the byproducts if you're close to the person with cancer. And your needs should be fulfilled as well, so you can be your best to support them.
Yeah, and there's no way there's not someone watching today that hasn't been inflicted either personally or had a neighbor or someone that they've known that has, is going through or has going through something like this. And wow, that's, to think of it in that context of, wow, that's
what we're hoping.
Yeah.
And then if people start coming, again, this is the first month, so it'll take a bit to kick off. But as people start coming, they'll have resources that now they can share out. So they may not have a person right now with cancer, but maybe 3 months down the line, you're going to have somebody in your world, hopefully not, but maybe, that has cancer. You're going to learn some tips from us on how to do that ahead of time.
And they could pass those tips on to other individuals
Absolutely.
too. So it's teach a person to fish,
right.
In some sense, and hopefully that snowball effect of the resources where we have a complete community coming around, coming together for individuals and providing those resources.
I was late getting here today because there was someone in my office. They didn't have cancer, and the cancer person isn't in Alpena, but what they learned from Friends Together during their experience helped them help this person out of state.
Wow, and that's
Which
great
is-
that they come back
yeah.
to share those
Yeah.
those experiences.
So it's very cool.
You know, we only have about a minute left.
Oh, okay.
But you have an event that's coming
Yes.
up on March 28th.
Yes, Mrs. Roper Roundup. It's brand new for us. It's going to be at Players. I think it's on March 28th. But look on Facebook and then sign up for that as well. It's going to be just a great night. If you remember the TV show Three's Company, we're all going to dress up as Mrs. Roper. So come on with your wig and your flowy dress.
That's awesome too.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen, you know, I saw some of the posts that you had on Facebook, and I haven't heard the name Mrs. Roper since I was little. So
Right.
it was really cool to see that coming back.
Yeah, and it's nice to go to a different venue too. Players is going to be a great place to be.
Yeah, and they do. Players is such a welcoming place too.
Oh, it is.
And you know, the owners have done such a great job with
Superfood.
with supporting local
Yeah.
organizations, especially yours, mine. You know, it's just amazing the outreach.
Great
outpour.
community.
Alpena's all right, right? Yeah, it's pretty incredible here.
stay for a while.
Yeah, I'll stay for a while as well. Well, Leslie, thank you so much for
you.
being on the show today. I always enjoy our time, and
It's always a pleasure. Thanks.
I'll definitely see you out in the community.
All right.
Thank you all for joining us as we continue to learn about the world of nonprofits in our local community. Please stay tuned after the break for the ACC segment.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Dr. Don McMaster, president of Alpena Community College. I'd like to take our time together this morning to talk a little bit about our board meeting, which happened last night, Thursday night. We film on Friday morning here. And three of the things that I shared with board members that are really quite good news, I think, about the college. The first was Alpena Community College achieving, I should say, the highest graduation rate among the 28 Michigan community colleges for the third consecutive year. This is according to IPED's data. I touched on this, I think, last week or the week before, but there's a little more detail here. ACC's graduation rate of 44%, a first-time full-time degree and certificate students completing in 150% of the time, led the other community colleges by a wide margin. You know, the nearest next community college was Montcalm down by Alma in that area, and they were at 38%. And then the rest were lower than that. So for the third year in a row, we were on top of this metric. You know, we don't compete a lot with Montcalm. You know, their students, you know, we don't get a lot of students from Montcalm, and they don't get a lot of students from ACC. So I think the point I was sharing with the board last night is really we compete with ourselves. You know, how well are we doing? Are we doing better? Where can we do better? Where are the gaps that will prevent our students from graduating and succeeding and moving on? So over the 3 years where we've been at the top, the first year we were at 38%, where Montcalm is now. And then last year we were at 42%. Now we're at 44%. This is an important metric in my mind. We are competing with ourselves, against ourselves, to be better, to do better. And really, you know, the beneficiary of that is everybody benefits from that. So that is about a 15% increase from 38 to 44%. And I want to say thanks to the faculty, for sure. They're the ones who are directly connecting with students in the classroom, but staff as well, both on the front end, getting them into class and then helping them succeed and deal with issues that come up at any point in the process, and then on the back end. All of that, everything we do should have an entry point into helping students succeed. And so the way I see it is it represents this metric, represents an ongoing shared commitment to student success, which is something, you know, the staff hears me harp on quite a bit, and I think that it is, you know, it's an important piece of what we do. The second piece was spring semester enrollment. We call it spring semester. It's the semester that started in mid-January and ends with graduation in May. So here are some spring semester enrollment highlights. We're comparing spring semester, the one we're in, to last year. Our head count increased 7.9%, and we have 1,556 students enrolled. That's good. Contact hours, those are the hours that they're similar to credit hours, but contact hours will usually be slightly higher because that represents lab courses as well. And so contact hours are the total amount of hours that people register for and somebody pays for. Those increased 4.8%. So we had budgeted to be up 1% in this area. So this is a good thing for, it's a good thing all around. Dual enrollment, we picked up quite a bit of new dual enrollment business down in the Thumb, which was an underserved area, and reached out to us, and using WebEx technology, we're able to bring some content to them that they want. But our dual enrollment, we're in now 30 schools doing dual enrollment and or early middle college. These would be K-12 schools. That enrollment was up 11.6%. Continuing students, this would be the students that come back. You'll pull out the graduating students, the ones that you would expect to come back. This is the biggest pool of contact hours we have, so this goes to retention. You've heard me talk about it, but it's a really key piece. The students just walk away, go somewhere else, quit. Continuing, that's what that shows. And that was up 7.1% in head count and almost 17% in contact hours. And then online and hybrid courses, these are the kind of the catchment for things that are delivered remotely, including WebEx. Those are up 14.5% in head count and 16.9% in contact hours. So that's still a modality that people really want, and you know, we ignore that at our peril. Also, a little bit more on enrollment. Spring semester in 2023 was up 11% in head count and 7.5% in credit hours over spring semester 2022. So we had a big jump last year as well, and that was first among Michigan community colleges. You know, we were coming out of COVID. And so in the last 2 years, our head count has grown by 275 students, and credit hours has increased almost 1,100 hours. So that is substantial and good, substantially good. You know, additionally, we do register about 1,100 direct credit students that we don't factor into these numbers. And these would be students who are career tech education students at K-12s around the region. If we do direct credit with those schools and those students specifically, those K-12s can draw down a higher appropriation per student, and that's a significant number. So if we do 1,100 direct credit students, that will probably net these districts about $1 million in aggregate in additional appropriation from the state. So a lot of good news. I could share more, but thank you folks for watching Talk of the Town. We'll see you again next week.
This has been Talk of the Town with your hosts Bradley Summers and Dr. Don McMaster. For a list of community events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at WBKB11.com and click on our community link. This has been a Queen Bee's Knees LLC production, a Morgan Murphy media company. All rights reserved.